So continuing, um, to note that this book and these verses are talking about us, it says in further on in chapter 9, verse 9, it goes, "For we are bondmen," that's slaves, "yet are male and female, yet our God hath not forsaken us in our bondage, but has extended mercy unto us in the sight of the kings of Persia, to give us reviving, to set up the house of our God, and to repair the desolation thereof, and to give us a wall in Judah and in Jerusalem." So again, this is denoting for our day. The prophecy, the final fulfillment of that is right here in America, which is Mystery Babylon. And that to denote who are the true Hebrew Israelites are those that have once been slaves and their descendants, which we are living in that day right now, which we are. And not only that, but the promise of the Most High to make sure that the mercy will be seen by the world over. And that is really key because they will not be able to have the ability to stop it. Like there's so much turmoil and so much war going on. It seems to just go on decade after decade after decade since you know who has gone into the Middle East, right? Or what they call the Middle East right now. The Most High ain't that profane. When he deals with you or when she deals with you, it's pretty quick. It's pretty damning. It slams you down and you don't be getting back up and relitigating the issue. It is a cutting off that takes place. I always think of the blood. I always think of a lot of cataclysms that have happened throughout history where you know that the Most High was in it because it's so pronounced. It's not something that you can get back up and run and continue to make trouble. So in this way, that when the Most High finally sets us free, the rest of the world that have benefited off of our slavery, they will be destroyed. And it doesn't, yes, there's going to be a great loss of life, but the majority of these foreign nations that have been helping to helping our enemies or our slavers to prosper and sharing in the spoils of that prospering will be cut off. And it will be a cutting off that they will not be able to rise again. And so their desire to get to us in order to share in our spoils will be great for them. You know, once they get their bearings and realize, oh my goodness, they're really cut off from us. We can't use them anymore. We can't feed off of them anymore. And so when it says here, at the very end, it says, and to repair the desolations thereof, and to give us a wall in Judah and in Jerusalem. There's going to be some type of barrier that's going to be in place to keep them out and to keep us away from them until we are, as a people, healed. And that may mean, and I think we have to prepare ourselves that many tender relationships that have been built have not been built on, has been built, some can say has been built on love, but not on true love, and that there is a difference between the two, right? As a slave and as a children of slave, you cannot truly love someone in this demonic society that is a child of, of, of Satan, or a friend to Satan, or has been friends to the children of Satan, have business agreements and have come over here and siphon the blood off of the slave who hasn't been healed yet. I mean, I don't know if it's true love, right? I think I think we have yet to really experience that because we haven't been made whole, and the slaves and their descendants have to be made whole first. So it's a whole person that's coming to someone who's a foreigner. And but more than that, the people who have been perpetrators of the thing and their descendants, and the foreigners who have come off of here with a thievery, a leeching spirit, that has to be healed too. They're no better than us. And in most cases, they're sicker than we are. They're really sick. And so they need healing as well. And so um, you, laying in bed with them does not erase that. Having children with them does not excuse it, you see. And this is why it says in many other prophecies outside of the Bible that there will be many tender relationships that will be broken. Because the straightening has to come in. What you do with your breast, your vagina, or your penis does not mean that God has to bow down to that. No, or that he or she has to curb their judgment. They don't. And so our uplift is going to be paramount, and we cannot get it wrong, and we dare not want to get it wrong. And I believe from the top to the bottom we're going to have to reckon with that, because some of us I mean, like even in my case, being deluded when I was much younger, thinking that white was right, and having to be broken up from that in all of its forms was very, very difficult. But I'm glad that the Most High has kept me in the way that she has kept me. I can see the fruit of that now, and that my walk back to sanity hasn't been as damning, and I can understand how it might be for someone who has gone all the way in, right? They are really ensconced in white supremacy, and or in foreign supremacy as well. The foreigner supremacy, like those who are Asian, even those who are Latino, and those who are everything but the descendants of American slaves, right? And that seems to be on the scale. The people who have been most affected out of us have been black men. And so they're probably going to be the ones that are probably going to have the most, the hardest time, unfortunately. But the on the hindsight of that is that when, even after all of our restoration has taken place, and the world's restoration has taken place, if you find love with someone who's not of your people, then that love we will know will be a pure love, because the ability for that man or that woman to come in and disrupt what God has put in place will be nullified. They won't be able to do it, right? And so so that's what we have to always keep in mind, because it's going to be very, very difficult, especially when it comes to sex. And too many of our brothers love exotic sex. And I think, the women, we probably would have gone the same route, but because the exotic men, white men, yellow men, beige men, and all these different ethnicities, they understood, especially white men, understood that no matter who they messing with, no one is going to be above his white woman. That's the lesson that he has understood. And it's the lesson that has kept him in power for so long. It's part of the reason why Satan chose him as his viceroy, because he knew that this man cannot be corrupted by the most, I don't know if corrupt is the most is the right word, but that his resistance to the Most High and to the any other foreign woman, especially black woman, would not change his perspective or his purpose to service himself and his woman. All right, so let me read out of that same chapter 9, verse 10 and 11. It says, "And now, O God, what shall we say about this?" Speaking about the people of the children of Jerusalem, bringing in these foreign people as their husbands and their wives, mainly in this scripture as their wives. So they say, "Oh now, O God, what shall we say after this? We have forsaken thy commandments, which thou hast commanded by thy servants the prophets, saying, the land into which ye go to possess it, it is unclean and with filthiness." And we know that that's talking in our day about America. No one would deny that. It goes on to say, "Of the people of the land with their abominations, which have filled it from one end to another with their uncleanness." Understand that the country we live in on this side of the world has been procure as such profane things that the Epstein files are but the top scrapings of that mountain. And that I had one holy woman said to me that was been really going on here in America and what has filtered out in the world, but really here in these 50, I guess, United States. Probably some of it won't ever see the light of day. Now, the Crisis Kingdom Administration is going to deal with it. They're going to have to know, and they'll deal with the people that and the persons that have engaged in it. But there's just some things that will never come to light because it's that profane, and it would do more harm to the global community than help the global community. Now, there's a lot that's going to be revealed, and it's being revealed now. But I think, like with the Epstein files, we have only scratched the surface of what is going on here. There are some places that I have always known, even just from the old heads that have lived when I was a little girl, from the civil rights era, from the silent generation, says that there are some roads and neighborhoods that you most certainly even today should not be out alone in. There are some highways that you should never drive down alone because of what is going on. It's not just the human element, but it's also the demonic element manifesting. And that's right here in this country. And it says a habitation of demons and the most unclean, filthy things that have gone on ever in the history of man and mankind. And so there's a lot of, I can see why there will be this stringent walling off of God's people. One, not only for getting us in our right mind, in a new heart, a new mind, but also too for our protection. And so I look forward to that day. And I can understand how um, uh, um, with these verses, how the Most High is going to operate in real, tangible areas. And one last thing, and with the historical record coming out, um, you know, even with Greece and Rome, there's evidence that the beginnings of that part of the timescape here was ruled by black men and women, and that really the holy seats of those areas in their infancy again were ruled by black women primarily, and that you have where when they were thinking of the Most High, that it was the embodiment of that was of a female or female deity, and that there was great jealousy on the part of the men of that day, and that they went out and executed those women. I know it doesn't say many of the books that speaks about that, but what has been brought to my mind is that many of those women who were in those seats of power, black women who were in those seats of power, understood at that time that they would be going down in death. And I don't think it was so much what they did wrong as they understood that a lesson had to be that the Most High let them know that a lesson had to be learned, and we have learned that lesson about that. There's a saying that no matter what man does, male and female alike, God does not change her mind. There's no changing. There's no, well, oh, let me do it this way now. No, it is, this is going to be carried out. I've already pronounced it in their future, and it's going to happen. And that man is just male and female working their way, weaving their way to that end point, which we can see the end point is right here unfolding in front of us. So that bit of truth was erased or buried in history. And when you think that that they're now coming out saying, well, the first Greeks and Romans were black, it kind of makes sense that unfortunately we have to deal with this thing of what happened during that time when these women were executed, and who was doing the executing, and how that relates to what's going on now, and why it's been so long for us to get that power back, right? You see other nations bounce back very quickly, but for us, especially here in the Americas, that hasn't happened. And even in Africa, that hasn't happened, or that part of the world on the other side of the world. So there's just a lot that we're going to have to be humbled by. And um, although there's great blessings that are going to be up before us, there's also great truths and humbling that's also going to be before us too. And no one escapes, male and female. So, or you may have to face that if God is unchanging, that how God originally presented itself to the world, that may have to go back. But it explains a lot about the sexual misgivings that have happened in our community as descendants of American slaves, and about that the inroads to our slavery were because there was a great betrayal that happened in the past, and so a common cause was made on a male level, and not understanding that some of those males, those being of European descent, had allegiance to the great Satan and not to the black man, and so they were able to betray them. Do you understand? I hope that the Most High will illuminate that in the kingdom, that your portrayal that you meted out to your woman became your betrayal by a foreign man, and that is how you end up losing everything. So I think that there's a lot that we have to reckon with, and also too, it will speak of why there's going to be a boundary line between cohabitating with foreign people for a little while, especially through the sexual act, that may be cut off for a little while, so that again we can get that right heart and that right mind. I mean, most people, and I see a lot of men doing this in all races. They just want to die and be able to go to a different dimension. They want to die and go to heaven. And I can't help but think that it's because they don't want to face the record that they have of their rule here on the planet in every country. And so I don't think that that's going to be given out. I think that a lot of people are going to not only live, but they're also going to be resurrected. And they're going to have to face it. They're going to have to face their record. Um, and that to me signals divine justice. So anyway, that's my enlightenment today. And I pray that the Most High has enlightenment and mercy to all of you, those of you who have shared, who have listened to this, and is willing to share it. All right, thank you, and we'll see what happens in the days to come.